Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are opening up a real treasure chest of wisdom. It's literally 2,500 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, we're traveling back to ancient China. We're going to explore the foundational ideas of Lao Tzu, the legendary sage.
Right, the founder of Taoism.
Exactly. And the author of that tiny, but hugely influential text, the Tao Te Ching.
And the listener shared quite a stack of sources on this, all focused on Lao Tzu's teachings, things like harmony, balance.
Simplicity, too.
Simplicity, effortless action, yeah. So our mission here really is to kind of skip the heavy academic stuff and just pull out the core philosophy, the Tao itself.
The way.
The way, exactly. And figure out why these ancient ideas still feel so relevant. Like they could have been written just for us living in this crazy, fast-paced world.
Okay, and why start here? Because honestly, almost everything we're usually taught about success, ambition, being productive, Taoism just challenges all of it. In a world that's all about striving, noise, pushing constantly, Lao Tzu offers this really radical, counterintuitive path, a way to a calmer, maybe wiser life.
It's almost like the original philosophy for dealing with burnout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lao Tzu saw that chasing power and complexity, it just leads to misery, not real meaning. He was kind of the first person saying, hey, maybe step off the treadmill.
That sets the stage perfectly. Okay, so before we really get into the flow, let's try and pin down the man himself, Lao Tzu. It's all a bit hazy, historically speaking.
It really is. A lot of mystery there.
We generally place him around the 6th century BCE, so that makes him a contemporary, roughly, of Confucius.
Right, but very different focus.
Very different. Unlike Confucius, who was all about societal rules, governance, Lao Tzu seems to have worked quietly as a record keeper, wasn't it, in the Zhou dynasty court?
Yeah, a record keeper. And that quiet court job, it's actually crucial for understanding where Taoism comes from. Well, the sources really emphasize this. He wasn't looking for power himself. He just had a front row seat to it. He saw all the corruption, the political games, the, moral compromises people made just to get ahead.
Okay, so he saw the machine from the inside.
Exactly. And it led to this deep, disillusionment. He basically realized society was just fundamentally out of sync, out of balance.
And his reaction wasn't to, write a manifesto or lead a protest.
No, not at all.
It was withdrawal. He just decided to leave the court, leave the city, basically vanish into solitude.
Which leads to maybe one of the best origin stories in all of philosophy, right?
Oh.
The creation of the Tao Te Ching.
Oh, yeah, the border guard story.
The border guard. Legend says, as he's riding his ox, heading out west to leave China for good, this guard, Yin Shi, recognized him.
Knew his reputation.
Knew his reputation as a sage. And the guard basically said, hold on. You can't leave until you write down your wisdom for the rest of us.
I just love that image, this profound philosophical text, basically written under duress because a border guard asked nicely.
Pretty much. So Lao Tzu pauses his escape into solitude, writes down the Tao Te Ching. It's only about 5,000 characters, really compact.
Tiny.
Hands it over and then just disappears. Poof.
It kind of proves that sometimes the biggest insights come when you least expect them, just from a simple request.
Exactly. Okay, so let's turn to the text itself now, the Tao Te Ching. It's not structured like, a rule book or a textbook.
No, it's very different.
It's more like a series of poems, paradoxes, observations, all trying to point us towards harmony.
Okay, let's unpack the big one then. What is the Tao? We know it means the way, but what does that actually practically mean for someone, listening to this right now?
Right. So the sources define the Tao as the ultimate eternal principle, the thing that flows through everything.
The source.
The source, the flow, the natural order of the whole universe. But crucially, it's fundamentally indescribable. You can't really put it into words.
The very first line, right? The Tao that can be told.
Is not the eternal Tao.
Exactly. The minute you try to define it, you limit it. You miss the point. It's like mistaking the finger pointing at the moon for the moon itself.
So it's not like a belief system you sign up for. It's more like the underlying rhythm of everything, something you just recognize.
Precisely. Which, raises a big question for us today. If the whole point is to align our lives with this huge, indescribable cosmic order, how do you even start? Especially when our world demands measurable goals and clear steps.
And this is where it gets really fascinating, I think, because the key teachings, they just seem so counterintuitive, especially for Western culture. The answer seems to lie in this idea of wu wei.
Wu wei. Effortless action.
Effortless action.
It's probably the most misunderstood concept in Taoism. People hear effortless and think it means laziness. passivity, doing nothing.
Right, just kicking back.
But it's absolutely not that. It means acting in sync with the natural flow of things, like a really skilled sailor using the wind and currents instead of trying to row directly against them. Okay, but I have to push back a little there. I mean, in modern life, professionally, if you just wait for things to unfold naturally, aren't you going to get left behind? If I stop, hustling, don't I just become irrelevant?
That's the friction point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the challenge. Lao Tzu isn't saying become passive. He's saying become efficient.
Efficient? How
Think
so?
about it. If you're constantly struggling, forcing things, hitting walls, you're probably working against the natural flow, against the Tao. Wu Wei is about getting the maximum effect with the minimum wasted effort.
Oh, okay.
It's about learning to see the right moment to act, and just as importantly, the right moment to pause or rest. Think about nature. A plant grows powerfully, but the growth itself is quiet, almost invisible sometimes. It's intentional, but not forced.
So real strength isn't in pushing harder, but in yielding, in knowing when to let go.
Exactly, which flows right into the second big surprising teaching.
Yeah.
The strength you find in humility and softness.
Right. Being gentle is stronger than being aggressive.
Lao Tzu really hammered this home. Gentleness, flexibility, humility. These are actually much more resilient qualities in the long run than pride, aggression, or being rigid.
And the sources use that classic nature analogy for this, don't they?
They do. If you connect it to the bigger picture, what really lasts? What overcomes the biggest obstacles? Water.
Yeah.
Lao Tzu says it clearly. The softest things in the world overcome the hardest. Water is the ultimate soft substance, right? But over time, it carves canyons out of solid rock.
Yeah.
It fits into any container, adapts to any shape, yet it's completely essential, powerful in its yielding.
That is profound. It just flips our whole idea of power upside down, suggesting that being adaptable, resilient, that's actually a better long-term strategy than just brute force.
Totally. Think about leadership. A rigid leader, someone who won't bend, they break under pressure. A flexible leader, one who adapts. They bend, maybe shift course, but they survive and often thrive.
You can see how that applies in negotiations or even just team dynamics. Being dug in makes you brittle.
Whereas if you're gentle, humble, open to different perspectives, you can just sort of flow around obstacles until they naturally erode or a new path opens up.
Okay, and the third key concept, which feels like something we desperately need today, simplicity.
Oh, definitely. A detox for the modern mind, as you said.
Lao Tzu taught that all this complexity we build up, it just leads straight to confusion, anxiety. While simplicity, stripping things back, brings clarity, peace.
We live in an age of just maximum everything, maximum choice, information overload. Every little decision, which streaming service, what career move, it adds up. Psychologists call it decision fatigue.
Right. It's exhausting.
And Lao Tzu argued way back then that if we voluntarily reduce that complexity, maybe fewer possessions, clearer priorities, cutting out unnecessary activities, we cut down the mental noise. We free up energy.
So simplicity isn't just about having a minimalist apartment. It's a tool for inner clarity, for cutting through the mental clutter.
Exactly. It helps you get rid of the drag, the background static, all that digital noise, the endless notifications. Simplifying lets us reconnect with what actually matters.
It lets you focus.
It restores focus. The goal is sort of to return to the uncarved block. Our original simple nature before society piles on all these complex demands and desires.
Moving towards how we apply this, the Tao is so deeply connected to the natural world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It teaches that we're not separate from nature, just watching it. We're part of it.
Yeah, integral parts of its big cycle.
Yeah.
And this idea of harmony with nature, it's actually a really practical guide for finding balance in life.
How so?
Well, think about how much our own inner peace suffers when we try to live completely outside of natural rhythms. We demand constant growth, right? Non-stop productivity, always on.
Even though nature works in cycles.
Exactly. Cycles of effort and rest, growth and decay, activity and regeneration. If we try to force constant springtime in our own lives, well, burnout is pretty much inevitable.
So aligning ourselves with those natural rhythms, recognizing there are seasons for intense work, but also seasons for necessary rest and reflection, that helps us find balance internally.
It does. And recognizing that growth isn't always a straight lineup. Setbacks, pauses, they're actually necessary parts of the system. Which brings us to maybe the most powerful teaching for anyone caught in that modern cycle of endless striving. Contentment. We're just bombarded with messages saying true wealth is about more money, more status, more stuff. Lao Tzu offers a completely different way to look at it.
A total counter-narrative.
What's fascinating is that he sees true wealth not as like a number in your bank account or how much you own. It's a state of mind. And you achieve it by defining your own boundaries.
Defining enough.
Defining enough.
Yeah.
For anyone driven to constantly learn more, achieve more, gain more, this is the ultimate shortcut to satisfaction. Why keep chasing endlessly when you can just decide what's sufficient for you?
That challenges everything.
If you know what you genuinely need versus what society or advertising tells you to want, you've basically already won.
Mm-hmm.
The text puts it so perfectly. He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough.
Wow. That line, especially today in our consumer culture that's obsessed with infinite growth, it's such a radical statement. It's philosophical freedom, really.
It is. It suggests contentment isn't just passive acceptance of your situation. It's an active, really wise choice to define your own self-sufficiency.
It takes the power away from external things.
Completely removes the external scorecard for success. If your satisfaction comes from what you have, your health, your relationships, your clarity, basic needs met, you're permanently wealthy in a sense. If it's always based on the next promotion, the next gadget, well, the goalposts just keep moving, don't they?
Always. Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this mean for us now? Thousands of years later, dealing with overflowing inboxes, crazy schedules, complex problems.
Well, connecting it all up, Lao Tzu's wisdom feels like a direct, practical antidote to so much of our 21st century stress and decision fatigue.
Yeah, it really does.
Our world pushes relentless ambition, constant striving, and the Tao offers this incredibly time-tested guide out of that cycle by shifting the focus from controlling everything externally to managing things internally.
So let's try and summarize the really actionable takeaways from the Tao Te Ching for you, the listener. First, maybe remember the power of Wu Wei. We don't always have to fight against the current of life, sometimes flowing with it, acting intentionally, but with minimal resistance, that actually gets you better results faster.
Right. And second, simplicity. It isn't about sacrifice, it's actually a strategy. Cutting back the complexity really can lead to more joy, more mental clarity, and just less exhaustion from making endless choices.
Good point. And third, remember that flexibility of water. True strength, lasting strength, often comes from gentleness, from being adaptable, from compassion, not from being rigid or aggressive.
The Tao Te Ching is just so much more than ancient history. It feels like a living manual. For anyone really who's seeking a life that's a bit more centered, a bit wiser, more meaningful, doesn't matter if you're a student, a CEO, or just someone trying to find a little quiet in a very loud world.
What an incredible deep dive that was. Into the way, Wu Wei, effortless living. We've touched on Lao Tzu's retreat, the surprising power of flexibility, and that really revolutionary idea of contentment.
And maybe just to leave you with one final thought to chew on, building on that idea of simplicity in Wu Wei, if true strength really is found in yielding, in allowing the right action to emerge naturally, how much of your current effort, maybe your exhaustion or frustration, is actually coming from unnecessary resistance?
Good question.
What might happen? What could you unlock? If you just pause for a moment this week, trusted the flow a little more, yielded just slightly, that's maybe something for you to explore on your own path.